why don't we look at these lovely Outlander folks while I tell you what happened last night on the live chat about season 1, episode 3. Well, what happened is my internet service provider decided that providing steady and continuous service really wasn't part of their deal that night, and so there are quite a few breaks that happened during the live show. To those of you who did try to join us, I appreciate your efforts, and I'm fairly sure we lost not all, if not most, of the comments that were put in on the side during the discussion, but I appreciate your efforts very much. This is me trying to splice things together so that we get a mildly coherent conversation. Of course, there are broken parts, and I put in a little warning so you know when the pieces are missing a bit. But the conversation itself is still really good. We had a great time chatting about this episode as well as other things, of course. The appearance or lack thereof of rear ends was a bit of a problem for Jan, but we'll get to that later on as well. Hope you enjoy this fun little chat that we had about, again, season 1, episode 3. And yeah, I'm going to announce that here in the video too, but why not overdo it just for fun? Enjoy, guys, and as always, love to you all. I meant to add her and I didn't, but yeah, I'll have to do
I
that.
think she's called Punk Knit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I shared it with everybody. I haven't done it myself yet. Here,
Yeah, I
I'll
don't
just
think
do
I
that.
went on her Instagram yet. I have to check it out.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it while I'm thinking of it, because otherwise I'll forget.
Cool.
But I just thought, that good for her.
Yeah.
Punk.
Well, she's got a niche. She could do it for all these different shows. She'd be great.
And then I wanted to tell you guys, so the author, what's her name? Diana
Mm-hmm.
and Sam, they met up when he was in Arizona.
Right, at that bookstore.
I think they showed us that.
Yeah.
But he signed some books
Mm-hmm.
along with Diana.
Right.
So I called to see how much one of the books was. And it was $70 for a signed book from Sam.
Wow.
Well, that's because
Was
you're
that
paying
the
for the
Waypoint?
book and the signature.
Was that the Waypoints book?
No, it was one of the Outlander books.
Mm.
But I was just kind of shocked because I have bought Laurel Hamilton books before, and Laurel Hamilton is big in the thriller type, and I've never ever paid that much for a book. I was shocked.
But that's
I'm
the
surprised
difference
it wasn't a
between.
Waypoints book.
Yeah, I would have
So
thought
you
so
did-
too. But writers don't get as as much notoriety as actors, so actors charge more for their autographs.
Yeah, they do.
guess.
True.
And then the bigger the actor, the more they can ask for.
Ask for.
I just
And
wonder.
I'm thinking
I
that's
just wonder
probably
if
wasn't that
Sam knows.
it's discretion of the bookstore how much they charge for the book?
Yeah, I just wonder
Yeah,
if Sam knows
Yeah,
how
that's the
much they're
bookstore.
How much
charging.
they're asking. Yeah.
Because I'm sure he's not getting the money from the signature. You know
No,
what I
that's
mean?
all, that's all. He's
Yeah.
getting probably some of it, but that's at the
You think
discretion
so,
of the bookstore.
Katie?
That's a lot of money.
Seriously?
Yeah, they I mean, I'm sure part of it goes to their agent and whatnot, but that's their cash. That's what they're doing separately. I mean, maybe I'm just assuming, but I've gone and gotten enough autographs and seen that the prices vary depending on what kind of, how well known the actor is, or
Yep, that's true.
what they produce, whether it's art or if they're actors or if they're singers, or it's going to vary. I'm sure that Taylor Swift probably asks for more for her autograph if she was selling them than Sam does, because he's more.
I guess I'm just shocked. I didn't realize because, Sam, he signs, autographs all the time for free.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And then for him to sign the books and then for the bookstore to sell it at $70. I just thought it was just shocking.
Yeah, it depends on where you get them if you're lucky. I mean, I've got, like I said, some autographs. I'll wait until a different event because I know that they'll charge less at a smaller event than at a big event or something like that. And others, you get some actors that they'll charge $40 or $50 wherever they are. It doesn't matter. Some of them charge $120. It doesn't matter where they are. So
Yeah.
It
And
really
same for the
depends. It
photos. I
varies.
mean, it's not like they're
Yeah.
not, their photos the same thing. They
Yeah.
go to these events and get photos, and it costs you money for the photo because that's
Yep.
part of the job. I mean, that's like their business. They're the business, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the book signing and the photos are the business. That's part of his
It's
business.
the same thing with sports.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
My grandson and my son went to get Saquon Barkley's autographs at a show, and he was charging $350.
That's
For his-
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mhm.
See,
Exactly.
that's ridiculous to me.
And if people will pay it, they'll charge it.
Well, yeah,
Um,
people
Josh.
will charge it. Yep.
Yes, definitely. Mhm.
I think
Well,
Yeah.
ladies, are we just about
Oh, yeah.
ready to go?
Yep,
We're
let's do it.
actually live. We were
Yeah.
having a really nice conversation.
Hi, everybody.
I think so many people miss the best part of these chats is before
I
we
know,
go
it's the
live
beginning.
because we talk about some great stuff.
I know, we do.
You're
And it's like we know each other too.
Well, we-
we see
yeah.
each other.
Well,
we
we've been
get to know
chatting
each
for a
other
while
pretty
now. We
well
know
on
each
here.
other.
Yeah. I'm just going to do my quick announcements here. We are chatting about Outlander season 3 of our first season 1, episode 3, The Way Out. I want to make one really quick announcement before we get going. That is that my brain has been foggy between being sick and worrying about my dad, and I erased my list of who was going to do which episodes. So, if you have a preference on an episode and you already asked for it, resend it unless you asked for 15 and 16 because it was the same people for both, I believe. And so and those were the only 2 that survived my accidental erasing of everything.
That was me, I think.
Well, I kind of was drafted for this one. I was on last week, and I didn't want to hog everything,
No,
so
you're-
I don't think I'd be on for this week, but I was, so I thought I'm gonna show,
I literally
didn't
went
know
to
I was
go
gonna
get
be
my
on.
list and sent out the emails, and all I had was 15 and 16, and I'm going, what did I do? I don't know how I did it. I don't know what I did. At any rate, but I put you guys on because I know Jackie said she was available anytime. I know Jan said she was available anytime. And I know
Yeah.
Diane had expressed that she'd like to fill in whenever I needed to fill in. So
Yeah.
Yes,
that's what I did.
Hey, just a question. What was it on a document that you got rid of?
No, it wasn't on a document. I use here, hold on, I'm trying to check.
Because
It's
there's
not
ways.
up right now.
There's
No,
ways. If it's a spreadsheet, I can bring it back up to you.
I use OneNote so that I can
Oh.
keep multiple things open about multiple shows and
Yeah,
multiple
I don't know.
projects
I don't
at all
know.
times.
I don't know how to do any of that on
It,
OneNote.
it works
Yeah,
the
me
way any office does. You back it up until you retrieve it, but I'd
Yeah.
close the program and open it so it wouldn't back up to whenever I messed it up. So
Yeah.
it's okay.
Okay.
But I just want to let anybody know. Guess what? Second chance. Let me know which one you want to watch because I'm your host and I'm a human being and I made a mistake. I just don't know what I did. So
Yep, I hear you. We've all done it.
I do want to do a shout out real quick to Linda Camiso. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong. Hello. And it looks like Cynthia is joining us. And I will probably read more of this later just because we got to get started. We are almost 15 minutes in. And so where should we start? We could start at the beginning. Don't even
Right
have
at
a
the
replay
beginning.
going right
I
now.
have it rolling. I
You
have it rolling.
Well, why don't you lead us in then, Jackie?
Well, in the very
Better make the
beginning,
choo choo sound. Choo choo.
exactly. She's on the train going away from
Yeah.
Frank. I always found that very interesting. People don't really care for Frank, and I just actually really enjoyed the on-screen Frank. I always felt sorry for the on-screen Frank.
No.
I did. Now the book Frank I did not, because he's
Yeah.
different in the book. He's not as nice in the book, and more brass in the book, and they kind of softened him on the program.
I completely agree.
Does that make? I mean, do you agree with
I
that, Katie?
understand.
And I
Yes.
think that's why. Robert Moore even mentioned that they did that on purpose so people would have feelings for Frank. Otherwise, they wouldn't. Because if they did it like the book, no one would care what happened to Frank.
No. You're like,
They wouldn't.
run away, stay there. Why are you going
Right.
back, you crazy woman?
Right. They wouldn't have any reason why they'd think that she'd want to come back to the man. But like in this very beginning, it was very loving, I'm going to miss you and the whole thing. So you kind of get the feeling that they were in love with each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And she
very
was leaving
much.
to be on the front line as a nurse. So I guess I kind of found that
I
part
still say
nice.
that I still say that the love that she had for Frank doesn't compare, and she knows it when she gets back, to what she has for Jamie. He
Right.
was kind of
Oh, of course.
a
Yeah.
placeholder, without
Yeah.
not being in a mean way, but you
Yeah.
know, to get her life started, that thing she
Yeah,
wanted
I
to
agree.
do.
Oh,
I
I
think
agree.
That's
I think it I think what was interesting to me this scene, Jackie, is that they're walking down the, I don't know what you would call it, that plank
platform.
area.
The platform.
The
Yeah,
platform.
and I was listening to them talk,
Mhm.
but I was expecting him to get on the train
Well, yeah.
and her to be standing there and saying goodbye.
Right.
So I think Diana, I really loved it because Diana twisted it around the
around.
opposite way
Yeah.
that we are used to seeing. You're seeing the woman with her
Waving.
hand up in the air, goodbye.
Exactly.
You know?
And they mentioned that in that scene, actually. She goes, "Welcome to the 20th century."
Yeah.
Usually he
Yeah,
mentions
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Usually it's me. I should be me getting on the train and not you, he says. And she goes, "Welcome to the 20th century."
Yes.
Yep, exactly that.
Yeah.
It does. But I love that scene. I
It
thought
is.
that
It's
was
good.
great.
It's a good scene. And I agree with you, Katie. I mean, the love is different. I mean, there's all different types of love.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that she didn't love Frank. It was just different, a different love,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Compared to Jamie. So,
Yeah,
He
and
was
I
more
just
I agree
comfortable.
about that.
Yeah, I just get the
then
So,
she kind of goes,
Jackie,
then it
what
goes
happens
into,
next?
then she goes back into, she's at Castle Leoch with Mrs. Fitz getting dressed and
Yeah.
all of that, getting washed. And, I can wash myself. And she makes a comment about how her skin is beautiful. I've never seen anyone with skin like that. Well, it's because she hasn't been doing, labor on a field like everybody else in that century, and that she notices that, right?
Did
And
you,
I think
Yeah.
she's
did you
sensitive to
notice?
that.
Did you notice how thin Claire is? I mean, you can see
her
her
bones.
ribs in her
Her
back.
bones, yeah. Katrina, very
Yeah,
thin.
she looks so thin. I was like, oh my goodness.
Mm. I
Well,
think they maybe wanted her to look that way because she's gone through
Well,
a lot,
I think she is that thin.
Yeah.
she just
Yeah.
is. She was a model, and models
She was
were
a model. She
expected to
is
keep
thin.
it very.
Yeah.
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 But I just thought Mrs. Fitz was just so great in that.
It was a
scene.
good scene because
Oh my gosh!
Claire kind of
That
fantasizes what it was going to
Jacqueline.
be if she would have told her Mrs. Fitz the
Right.
truth, right?
Mhm.
And what
Yeah.
actually happens when she tells her
Right.
the truth,
Yeah.
and
When
she
you
just
first
And
calls
that's
her,
very much
starts
like the
starts
book.
crossing herself and starts
Yeah.
screaming and calling her a witch. I mean,
Yeah.
when
I'm
you
like,
first
oh.
see it, you think it's
And
real.
then she comes
You
back
think
to
it really is
reality, thinking, yeah,
happening,
maybe I shouldn't tell her the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great part. You
Good
really
scene.
thought, oh my God!
I love
what's gonna
Mrs.
happen now?
Fitch.
I do too. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's great. She really is with her little chubby red cheeks.
I know she's always red, right?
I know.
Yeah, she is.
That's so cute.
She's cute.
Mhm.
Yes, I watch
Okay,
her
Jackie.
in Midsummer. I watch her in Midsummer Murders now.
Mm.
She's good in that too. In the
Yeah.
later
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah, she's the coroner. She's the she's the coroner. She's good. She's a good actress. I like her. I really do.
That's funny.
But she was great in that. And you think, oh my God, is she what's going to happen? And here it wasn't real.
I know, right?
Outlander does that to you.
Because I think she's trying to figure out, how do I get back to the Stones, and if she knows she's going to need help to get there.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what she was fantasizing. If I talk to these people, will they help me get back to where I need to go? And that was the whole fantasy. And she's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't tell them the truth because this
Right.
is not going to go well.
Well, and then
Well,
she
I
comes
think,
with a
you know,
plan. Yeah, go ahead.
I think she has a need, like a lot of us women. We need to share something about what's going on in our life because something crazy has just happened.
Right.
And she needs she probably feels like she needs to share something with somebody,
Right.
Exactly.
I agree.
But but the people back there were so superstitious
Very.
that it's really
Yeah,
hard
we're gonna
to meet.
we're gonna see Superstitious in a few minutes here.
I know, right? Absolutely. That comes up. Sure does.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. What's
What?
next?
I was just gonna say she sort of comes up with a plan of how to get home, and her she's like, be noticed, be valued, and be someone who's liked, so that they will want you to go.
Want to
Sort
help
of
her.
backfires on her because that valued part she kind of went overboard on.
Yeah.
Right. She
Absolutely.
starts to be a nurse to everybody, thinking that if she helped them, they would help her, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And she starts, helping in the surgeries and helping people and helping Colum with his issue.
Yeah.
That scene was very cute.
That was- yeah,
Did you guys
that's
like
where-
that scene with the
that's
massage
where
and him? That was cute.
Yeah.
Do my legs
Yeah.
offend me, and then does my rear end offend me?
That was cute. I like the one at the very beginning, right before that happens, when the guy is giving him the coat and it's longer than
Yeah.
it's supposed to be
Yeah.
because he wants to hide his legs, and he just got so offended about what is
Mhm.
wrong with it.
Yeah.
I want it
Yep.
exact where it's supposed to be.
That's a wonderful part.
Good for
That
him.
really is
Yeah.
wonderful.
He didn't want to
Definitely.
hide. Yeah, it's like, why are you hiding this?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't feel any need to. His status, he doesn't need to hide who he is.
Nope, doesn't need to hide
No.
nothing. And he's like, did I ask you to make it different? He's like, no, but I just assume. He goes like, don't assume.
I would
It's
like,
like-
to know how they did that to make his legs look like that.
He was
That was
in
some good,
green, I don't know what do you call those things
Green
where they
screen.
Well,
Yeah,
Stephen
like-
Creek called it his green sock,
like
so
a
I'm just
green
going to go with
screen
green
almost,
socks.
like on his legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
What
they,
it is, it
yeah.
could be CGI.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly what they
can
did.
do all different
And then they
things
also
on the
said they
screen.
put kind of a brace on his waist, and it kind of made his legs bow out, so he actually
Yes.
walked kind of like that to make it
Yeah,
look
I
like
think-
he was crippled, had that issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was one of the characters that was on what was the name of the show? The Kilt show with Sam and
Men in
Oh,
Kilts.
Men
Men
in
in
Kilts.
Kilts?
Men in
Yeah.
Kilts, yeah.
he was on their show. Do you
Mhm.
remember seeing that one?
Yep.
I
In the
think
boat,
I
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember that.
he was in the
Yeah.
boat. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the
Yeah.
boat.
He's
Yeah.
Well,
cute.
no, him and Sam did another program together also,
Yeah.
way
they were in a
earlier
movie
in their
Yeah.
in his career. Yeah.
Airlines about the
Yeah,
they did
I
another
remember
show
that.
together.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was
Yeah.
in that. Gary Lewis. Is that his
Yeah.
name? Gary Lewis, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gary.
I like him.
Gary.
Yeah, he's one
Actually,
that
I'm
was
in
just
that
at
spot right
LandCon,
now
I
where she's
think.
doing the massage on the screen right now.
Okay, what
Yeah.
happens after the massage, Jackie?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
let's-
she's invited to the show. where the
Yeah,
guy's
invited to the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
To that guy is singing with the harp. Yep.
she's
that's
six-
Bear
six-
McCreary.
And that's where she
uh,
kind of meets Leary, right?
Yes.
They kind of sit together,
Yeah, they have a
And
little
then-
chat.
a little chat. And then
our
of course,
comes
Mr.
in.
McTavish walks in and she says he's a
Yeah.
fine specimen. And the girl's like, yeah, he is.
Yeah, Claire does her best to be so. Doesn't she look nice? Isn't she?
I know, right?
Oh, yeah,
and he
right,
just
Bonnie.
totally ignores her.
Yeah.
He just doesn't even notice.
Oh God, that you could just like tell her little heart just like broke.
Yeah.
I
Broke.
know.
She was
I
broke.
really felt for her. I really did.
I did. And that
felt
point you
for
kind
her.
of do. And she kind of talks about how he was there when he was there at 16 years old and she was
Yeah.
like 7. And he's like, yeah, no,
And
I don't
then-
remember any snot-nosed kid.
And so
I'm
I
like,
think-
oh, that was
Yeah.
even colder.
Insult to injury, he hands her the glass.
Snot-nosed kid. I
It's
like
just
that. And of course,
Here,
Claire
take
hits him
the
like, you don't
glass.
need to say that. that was mean.
We might
That's
actually be having
awesome.
some problem video wise. I have 0 viewers.
Guys,
Love that
this
part.
is one of my top 5 scenes
Yeah.
of the
Okay.
whole show of
it?
all of the episodes.
You like that one, huh?
Oh my God. Tell when he talks, okay, spoiler, when he talks in the future that he loved her from the time that,
He first saw her.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell he has such strong feelings for her
Mhm.
at that point,
Yeah.
And you can
So-
see that she's starting to have some feelings.
you do, but you can tell she still wants to leave and go
Right.
back.
Back.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
she
She's still wanting to leave.
she feels the heat. I mean, she
Yeah.
definitely feels something. when he's standing there.
Mhm.
But I just love that scene. That's
me
one of my
too.
favorites.
It's a great scene.
You know, it was the chemistry between them. The
Oh, yeah.
chemistry was just like you said. It was just radiating
Yeah.
the emotions. And
There's
everything.
nobody that could do that scene with Katrina as
Yes.
well as Sam did with her.
Well, and you
Here's the
see
thing
they get
about
really formal at the end too to kind of cool themselves off.
Yeah,
Thank you,
he
Mr.
kind of steps
McTavish.
back
Well,
and
thank
says,
you,
"Thank you,
mistress."
Miss Beecham, Mrs.
Yeah.
Mistress Beecham." Yeah,
Yeah.
and
He
walks
said, "I
and
should be
leave, tries to
going,"
leave. Yeah,
And even
Yeah.
when he was leaving, he looked back at her.
yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
When he was going up the steps, he looked back.
He
I
did.
thought that was significant too.
I know, I
Yeah.
love that. And
I
that's
love
such
that.
a
Yeah,
little
me too,
thing
Jack.
in that
Me too,
scene,
Jan.
but it really makes a difference.
It does,
Yeah.
and that's one thing I have to say about these two when it comes to the whole. Everyone talks about the chemistry, is the eye contact that they always have in those particular scenes. Their eye contact is like on point
Get
every
in here.
single
Get in here.
time.
Get in here.
Well,
It's
it's
like,
the looks
wow.
they
I mean,
give-
those guys practice. I wonder how much they practice that whole eye
it's the
contact
looks
thing.
they give each other.
Yeah.
It's the look.
See,
The way
I
they
know
look at
that
each other.
Katrina and Sam, they, in an interview, I remember they were talking about in the early scenes that they really, they talked about everything that they were going to do in a
Right.
scene.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the producers that were telling them or the director what to do.
Right.
They really worked out, their scenes. So
Right.
this doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't.
Well,
So
yeah,
that they practiced that and figured out what they. But
Yeah.
even how much you practice and what how you're told, it still has to come across on screen, and those two just know how to do it so well.
They just have
They
those
really do that whole eye
plus.
contact thing. No matter what episode you're talking about, they have it somewhere.
Yeah.
They
You're like,
nail
damn.
it. They nail it, and they have it down pat.
They're
Absolutely.
just
Yeah.
so good at that.
They just nail it.
That was a great scene.
It's a great scene.
That was one of the best. It was very insignificant in a way, but there was no much action but it just said so much.
We're
Well-
still talking.
Well,
We're still talking. Okay,
So-
so after we see Galus, then she
He tells
goes
her
into
about the
town,
way to do
right?
Well, isn't it
Tell her
where
about
it's
the
somewhere in the
boy.
middle of that? One of the boys dies because they go to that whatever Kirk,
The
Black
Kirk.
Kirk,
The black
and
Kirk.
of course that's when all the suspicion and all the they're all crossing themselves thinking
Yeah.
Satan is there,
Mhm.
right? And the boy dies, and that whole subject kind of comes into play there about Galus
then
saying, "I'm
I
not
think
going there." Father
that's-
Bane wants
Yeah.
to send the kid is possessed,
Doesn't,
and she's like, "Well, maybe he's just sick."
I know.
Well,
It
yeah,
still
I've
cracks
seen
me up.
that
That's like
guy.
the radical idea. That's the
I
crazy.
know,
He
that he's
couldn't
just sick.
possibly be ill. That's insane.
That's insane.
I,
No, he's
I've
possessed
seen
by
that.
the devil. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my
I've
goodness.
seen that minister in a couple different movies. I can't
did
think
you?
of where I've seen him, but he's a
He
scary
is
dude.
so-
I think he plays like a monster.
Well, he's almost a monster in
I
this show
believe
too. I
it.
mean, he just plays
yeah, I
so
believe it.
creepy
Yeah.
and
He's so
hatred to the
believable.
bone. I'm like, whoa. The hatred,
Yeah.
I mean, the hatred just oozes from this dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's mean.
Okay,
And pretty.
so-
He's a prick, too.
So then,
she finds out
then
about
does
the
she go
sex
see
school.
Galus again?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Finds
Yeah.
out
Duncan,
the boy is
yeah.
sick, I
I was gonna
think.
say
And then
Duncan
she
Dougal
runs into
Trying
is
to
him.
heading
remember.
out there. It says he's going to
Yeah.
give her a ride so she can stock up on her supplies before
Yeah.
the gathering.
The gathering, correct.
But she goes there before that. She walks there to that place, doesn't she? She walks.
No,
to
she
this-
goes with Dougal.
She goes
Yeah,
with
not in
the-
this episode.
No, but I
Yeah.
think she goes before that too. She runs when she leaves Galus. She runs there, and he has to follow her. Remember, Angus follows her and said, "What are you doing?" And she goes in there to look.
That's
at the
into
boy.
to the garden.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's in
that's
the
in the
garden.
garden.
That's where she's walking to the garden. That's before
Yeah.
she goes to the actual house that she's at.
But then
That's
later,
different.
Dougal
she's
asks
at the
her, and she
garden
goes
there.
Again.
Mhm.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
She goes again.
So
Like she-
that gross husband of Galus shows up. Ugh,
Yes.
that is so gross. Don't party die.
You know what's funny though is that she plays him like a fiddle though.
Yeah.
She does.
So
That
bad.
guy will do whatever she wants. And she knows
and
it.
another thing that I just kind of came into my head when I was watching this scene is those dresses that they wear, they make them look so much bigger than what they are. I mean, Galis is such a teeny, like she's tall,
Hmm.
I think, if I've seen her correctly, but
Yes.
she's so thin. She doesn't have hardly any boobs, in reality.
Well, yeah, we see her boobs,
Yeah.
in later episodes. Yeah,
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Morley we do. Later episodes, we do.
Yeah, we do. It is odd. I think that there isn't a lot of variation in the body types that we see without any clothes on, and I think that
Yeah.
probably has to do with just as much as on the male side as the boy side. The female side is, well, what do most people want to look at, and what people
Yeah.
might go, eh. And I think that we've gotten a lot broader in what we think beauty is, so we see more
agree.
variation on a lot of other shows.
Sure.
We
But
do.
they cast this 10 years ago. This
Right.
is 11
Yeah.
years ago, and so it might have been, I don't know, they might have been less open-minded at the time, whereas when we got Bridgerton and there's a nude scene with a voluptuous
Voluptuous
woman,
woman?
people are like,
Yeah,
more
plus
power
size.
to you, right on. And
Yeah.
it's just a different view just in the last decade of
Yeah,
what we think
absolutely.
is acceptable.
It's changed that much.
And that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah,
It's a good
yeah.
thing. It's a good
I
thing.
Different
know
body
somebody.
type.
Nobody wants to see these banana boobs in my butt, so that's okay.
We've all done our time and or had several children. Nobody's boobs
Yeah.
are pointing forward anymore. That's just
No.
not happening. It's
That's probably why we haven't seen Katrina naked in the last
Yeah,
episode, in the
that
last
may
season
be.
either. Let's talk about that for a minute. Probably haven't. That's why, because she had
Yeah.
a kid, and things
Yeah.
are different.
Yeah. And
Oh,
maybe.
and you see that with a lot of actresses, honestly, and I don't blame them in the slightest. It takes a long time for you
Yeah.
to be comfortable in your own skin again after you have a baby, because your own
Absolutely.
skin has been all whacked out for the last
Different.
year.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when they have a baby, the movie starts. They have personal trainers. They have
They do.
chefs to cook. For
Yeah.
them,
It's
to get
different.
back
A
in
little
shape,
different,
you
yeah.
know. It's
Okay,
a lot
and I'm-
different for us. you
I
know?
understand that, but I don't think that takes away from the emotional toll it takes watching your body change from one thing to another in a fairly short amount of time, really. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mentally, even if we're all like, oh my gosh, she has her figure back, she looks great, she might still see differences in her from her model days that she's still growing accustomed to. And I
Yeah,
don't
I
blame her for
agree.
not wanting to bear all.
Well, you have to remember you're getting older too. You know, you can't. be
Not me, I'm
perfect,
aging backwards.
you
I'm
know?
50, next year I'll be
Like
49.
like
I made a
all of
rule,
us, you know.
which might be causing me to have, problems keeping a network connection.
Right.
Yeah. And my God, can you imagine?
And so Father Bane, who's Satan's spawn, wants to chop the kid's hand off just because he took
Yeah.
a roll because the kid's
because
hungry,
he was starving.
Yeah.
because he's starving, right? So Galis kind of works her magic with old farty dude and said, well, why don't you just do this instead?
Well,
And she just
yeah.
sits down like, yeah, see, that's all I had to do. I just like the way she says that to Claire. Yeah, see, that's all.
Yeah. Well, that was because of Claire. Claire,
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
like,
couldn't
what?
get anywhere with them, but yeah,
Right,
Gail
because she was
could.
appalled that they were going to take his hand off just because he took
Yeah.
a roll because he was hungry. Like, really? You're going to do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay,
they did
so
back then.
Jamie shows up.
Shows up, says that
He's
it's time
got
for
a
them to
coat
go.
for her.
And so they
Yeah.
go outside, and so she decides that she wants to help the little boy. And he goes, well, he could get off if he wants to. He just has to rip his ear off. He's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's like, what?
I
That's
have a
pretty
question
crazy.
too.
What?
Did
But
Dougal
she's so-
put
she's so-
Galis
you know,
up to
there is-
asking Claire questions about her past and everything? Do you think
No,
Dougal,
I
that's
think
why he
that
took her there?
Galis
could
suspects.
ask her question because Galis was getting a little pippy about it,
True.
about her.
Yeah,
past,
I think
trying to
Galis
get information
suspects.
from, you know. Do you think Dougal put her up to that? Is there anything about that in the book or anything?
I don't
No,
remember anything about that. in
No,
the book.
there's nothing
maybe
about
I'm not
that
coming
in the
through
book.
now.
Oh, okay. I was just curious because I mean, she and Dougal were together. You know what I mean? So
It
I think she
wouldn't,
just kind of
I'm
suspects
sure
something's
that,
not snack glass. I started laughing when he
yeah,
said that.
I do,
Snack glass. I started laughing when he
yeah,
said that.
I do too. He's
So cute.
already getting an inkling that she
Yes,
is
snack
not
glass.
a normal woman,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
it's
know?
cute.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go to the Kirk.
The Black
Yep.
Kirk.
Yep. And then he talks about how he was educated, but maybe not as educated as you. And this is what we did when we were there as young boys. And that's when that's when she figures out that they ate something. That's the problem.
It was
Yeah.
Lily of the
Yeah.
Valley.
It was Lily of
But
the
I
Valley.
really,
Right.
instead of
I'm-
what onion root.
Something.
It was
Yeah.
garlic.
kind of rolling
Garlic,
back for
garlic
just a
or
second.
something.
Yep.
I really liked how they brought out some, interesting information about Jamie here because, I don't know about you guys, but I thought he was, not very educated
Mm.
and was kind of just a young man, living in the castle. And
Right.
I didn't realize that he was educated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You
He was
know,
educated.
Mhm.
He had a
At this
tutor.
point, because we haven't heard that before.
Right. Not
Mhm.
until then that he had learned
Right.
Because
more
we're going
languages.
to hear more about it.
Yep.
Spoiler alert. We're going to hear more about it,
Yeah.
in the future.
Right.
But I think that was a really great place,
Mhm.
for the author and for the show,
Hmm.
to put that information in there. Because I think that was in the book too, wasn't it, Jackie?
I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it was in there. But anyway, I like that.
I did too, because
Yeah.
he even mentioned that. Because I was educated, but maybe not quite as educated as you. He says that.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a tutor. He says, and I
Yeah.
learned what language. I can't remember what language. What did he say? Greek. I think it was
Latin.
Greek, Latin,
Says
and
Latin.
he always knew that.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knew all of that because he was educated. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big deal. I'm sure it was a very, very big deal back then.
Yeah.
But he said he was also grown up as a Highlander, so all the suspicion he had that too. So it's not
Yeah.
just because he was educated that he didn't believe in what they believed in. So
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah.
I found that interesting too.
I think
Yeah.
It's like
I
he's
think it's
open-minded.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, when we're here in this spot in 17, where are we, like 1720s or whatever it is?
No,
43.
I think like 45.
43,
Or
okay, thank you.
43.
I think it's interesting back then, they're suspicious, they have all these
Very.
suspicions and everything,
Mhm.
but then we go back to the time where she came from and there's still lots of, suspicions about,
Yeah.
ghosts and what did he say?
that's true.
Oh, water horses. I
Yeah.
thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know what he meant by that. That one part I didn't know what he
Yeah.
meant. Yeah, that was interesting. But we
Mhm.
learned so much about him in that short time space that he was tutored and he called himself a Highlander, which I just love.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a Highlander.
And
Yeah.
he's educated, but he still goes along with his suspicion.
So it goes along with the Highland
Which
group because
actually
that's who he
stays
is.
in,
Yeah.
they still have today. In today's world, in Inverness, they still had those suspicions and everything about ghosts and everything. That's really fascinating. And then was it true about the lily of the valley? And they were calling it wild garlic, I think. Is that true?
Well, she said the leaves look the same. So
Yeah. So there
people were
probably
eating
is
it.
both growing in the area, and it just
Growing
left
in
the
the
draw,
area.
which you happen to.
and they
Yeah.
picked the wrong one and ate it, right? Because
Yeah.
they look the same,
Well,
and that's
they
why
thought it
the
was
boys were getting
wild
sick.
garlic and it tasted good, but it wasn't
Right.
wild garlic. It was lily of the valley, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
crazy. So
I just found it very interesting. So she figured out what it was, made a tonic, goes back to the house, and starts talking to Miss Fiss about saving the boy. And Father Bane is already, throwing holy water on the kid and trying to excise the demon.
yeah.
And he would have rather let that boy die than her save him.
Right.
Yeah.
She even says that. I think
really
Father Bane
believe
would have let that boy die than me save him. And she was not lying about that.
It is
No, it's
disgusting.
And what she gave him was belladonna.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I,
what they
you know,
think.
remember
Which
when
is a
we
poison in
started
itself.
on the first episode 3 weeks ago, and we talked about how we love her talking to us, and
Yeah.
this is an opportunity for her to talk to us about how serious this was for her to give him
Mm-hmm.
this
It's tonic. Yep.
medicine,
Mhm.
and if it could, if she was wrong,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so she could have gotten, into really big trouble
True.
because
Yeah.
she
You're right.
was giving him a drug, and it would have
Mhm.
killed him, or they
Right.
thought it would have killed
Yeah,
him.
or she said if she had given him the wrong dosage,
Right.
Right.
she had given him the wrong amount of this belladonna.
Right.
And
Yeah.
belladonna in itself is poisonous, but it
Right.
was counteracting the poison that the boy had.
Yeah.
And if she had been wrong about that, you're right, she would have been in big trouble, definitely.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I love that because she fills in the gaps like that we have about things. So
Right. Mhm.
Hmm. Definitely. That was a great part too. Wonderful.
It was. It was good. I enjoyed that part.
the whole scene was good.
The whole scene was, I mean, just him, the evil that he saw. I mean,
No.
that he
Even
out
scary
of his
too.
eyes were just evil because she
Mhm.
did something that he didn't think she should have. I'm like, ooh, that dude is like serious.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's
Yeah.
gonna change his tune in a little bit.
Ooh, he was
Yeah.
just ugly.
But spoiler alert, he gets back at her later on. He gets back
Yeah,
at her.
Yeah.
he comes back again later on. Yeah.
That's a spoiler alert.
It's
I'm
like,
sorry.
ooh, yeah.
Okay, what's next, Jackie?
I'm trying to think what happens after that. Yeah, I'm
Well,
right where.
then-
Well, here right
she
now.
and Claire and Jamie have a little chat out by the horses, and
That's
they-
right. Yes.
yeah, that's kind of our closing scene, really, where they're talking about what happened, and he
No,
says
that's
they,
not the closing scene because
Well-
then they go to they have to go to another show. They go to another show, and Jamie
That's
tells
right.
her what he's singing about. And
Yep.
It's about her.
that's right.
Well, it's about what happened to her. It's a
Yeah.
folk
Yeah.
song about what someone had come through the stones, and then they go back. So
Yeah.
she figures out that this has happened before, and someone actually wrote a song about it. I'm like,
Yeah. Thank you, Diane. I completely forgot
Yeah.
that was the actual
Yeah,
end
that
there.
was good, Diana.
And you know what? There was another part where they were kicking each other. Wasn't
Oh,
there?
we
That was
forgot that
so
part.
funny.
You
Oh,
forgot
when he's
that part.
kissing Leary in the thing. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
See, and that's what made me feel sorry for her is because he led her on by doing all of that stuff, right?
Yeah,
First he
yeah.
took the beating. Okay, I get that point. Maybe that's not something that would really think that I like you. But then he's kissing her in the alcove and all of that. So I understand why she's upset and angry at him because he did it.
Yeah.
He led her on.
Yeah,
Yes,
I absolutely agree.
definitely.
So I
Definitely.
can't really blame her for being mad. Well, I can't. I can blame her for trying to kill Claire, yes, but not for being mad at Jamie for doing that because he did. He that was just so not cool. And she's a young, impressionable girl thinking
Yeah.
that he liked her because what is she?
Yeah.
17? You know what I mean? 18,
Yeah.
whatever. She's
Yeah,
young.
she's a teenager.
She's a teenager. So
And
any
she was
boy that
mad
looks like
she
that's going to
loved
kiss
him.
her, she's going to think that's what that meant.
He was
I
just
don't
being
care.
a man.
Yeah.
I don't care what
And
year
then-
it is. When you are a 16-year-old and you are in love, that is the end all be all. Your heart for, yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And she's had a
Well-
crush on him since she's been 7. So that just solidified it
Well,
all, right?
So have I. So have I. I've had a crush on him.
Yeah,
She's
me
had a
too.
crush on him.
Yeah, Jan too. I know.
So
My
when
heart
that whole
was
kissing,
broken all the time.
when that
I
whole
know.
tongue down her throat happened, she's
Not
like,
since I
yeah.
was 7, but maybe since I was 65 or something, I had a crush on him.
I
you
love
know?
how Myrna tells Claire, though, what the whole kicking under the table, and she goes, well, do you think he's going to get a wife? And she goes, yeah, maybe, if they find out. And she goes, but that's not the wife he needs. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Dougal already knew that's not the wife he wanted.
I
Or
have
needed
a-
for
I
him.
have a question. I have a
Love that.
I love that conversation.
I love that
Yeah.
comment.
Between her
It's
and Myrna.
perfect.
I
He
have
needs
I
a
have
woman, not
question
a
for you
lass,
guys,
he says.
Okay.
Oh,
What, Jan?
What's up,
you
Jan?
think-
What do you want to know?
Okay. Do you think that Murtaugh was kind of saying that to her because he knows that Jamie loves her? Okay, at this point. And
I think that he's okay. Go ahead.
I think that I'm just throwing this out. I think that he sees that thing that's happening between them two, and he's just telling her, like, he needs you, girl.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's a
That's
great
kind of what
scene.
he said. But
I don't know if that's really what he's saying, but I do think he's definitely watching out for Sam and knows that if
yeah,
she eggs him on, he's going to be the one in trouble, not her.
Right.
I
yeah,
think it's more of a concern for him than hoping he gets the
Okay.
girl.
Yeah, kind of the
yeah.
fatherly
I
concern.
was thinking what you were thinking, Katie, but after I got to watching it a couple times, I was like, just the
It's an
way he
interesting comment,
slides
isn't it?
over there and he says,
Yeah,
says whatever he says,
it's an interesting
Right.
comment.
Yeah.
He needs a
He
woman, not a
needs a,
lass. And
he
Leary
doesn't
Yeah.
will be a Leary will
last
be
till
a
she's
lass
50.
even when
Till
she's
she's
50.
Till she's
50.
50.
Because she knows like
Yeah,
she'll never grow up, right? And be the
yeah,
woman
Yeah.
that he needs. Right.
yeah, yeah.
It's an awesome scene.
I might agree with you, Jan. Maybe he did see something between them. Maybe
I
he did,
don't know.
Yeah.
especially on Sam's side, because he's with Sam all the time.
Yeah, because
Maybe
maybe Sam tells him that he has feelings for her. We don't know, that's
yeah,
why,
I don't know about that. I'm not
that's,
sure
I don't know.
about
Does
that.
Jamie say that? I don't
Diana,
know.
I don't think
Diana
there's anything
doesn't
like
give
that in the
us an
book.
answer. She
Yeah, I
makes
don't
us
remember
think.
him saying anything like that in the book. I don't remember Jamie
Yeah,
having that conversation with.
yeah,
No,
But see,
no,
Murda
I'm
was
not.
different in the book though too. Murda was not as
Yeah, I'm not saying
heavily
it was in a
done
book
in the
or
book as he
in
is
the
in the
show.
show either.
Yeah.
Pardon me? He, yeah,
I'm not saying that he had the conversation in the book or in the series.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, we don't see all the scenes that they live.
Right,
So
right.
I was
Yeah.
just thinking kind of outside the box, like,
Agree.
yeah,
maybe he was talking to Murtaugh about his, how he feels about Claire. We don't know.
Right.
Well, don't worry, and don't forget, Murtaugh knows Jamie's personality. He knows that he's educated and everything,
Yeah.
and I think he could just tell, that Leary was not for him.
Oh,
She's a
yeah.
child, and Jamie isn't a child. Jamie isn't like that. He's mature, he's educated, and
Right.
he needs a woman,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. I
like a
agree.
woman like me.
Yeah.
I'm
An experienced woman.
An
Yeah.
experienced woman.
Hey, there you go.
Which was
I'm an
Claire.
experienced
Absolutely.
woman, definitely.
Sure that. It's funny.
Oh God. So then
Awesome.
they go to the show, and Jamie says, he says, I've been waving to you. He said I was going to hurt my arm again, waving to you to come to sit with me.
Yeah.
And then they sit together, and I just love that part too. And then he's telling her what he's saying, what he said, saying in the book.
Right.
And she was down in the dumps because she thought, I'm never going to get out of here. But once she hears that the woman does go back to
Right.
her life, she said, then there is hope.
Right.
I think that's how it ended.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Because then she realizes she has to figure out how to get out of there. Right. Because there's a way. Someone did it already.
Mhm.
They went back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she has a chance. Yes, definitely.
So
yeah.
do you think from that song someone actually did that? I mean, otherwise,
I
how would
do.
that song gotten, right?
Yeah,
So someone
I do
actually did
too.
that and wrote that song.
I do. I think in this
Right.
story that
Right.
is part of the story's past.
That's part of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That
how
someone
folk,
did that.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's how folk songs, as far as I know, a lot of them start that way,
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
Down through the
I
So
believe
I
it.
wonder who wrote it or
down
who did that.
the generations and everything. Yeah.
Maybe
I
Master
wonder-
Raymond met a gal. I don't know.
You think? I'm just curious. I wonder. So they did the folk song. I wonder who that folk song was about, because it was
Yeah.
about someone who did it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree. That's
Diana is writing a book about what's his name, Master.
Master Raven.
Master Raymond.
Yeah.
Well,
Raymond.
she plays with it, but she has no plans to actually release anything. She writes
No.
things now and then.
But
But she said she has no plans to write an actual book and release it. It's like, great.
Yeah. She said that it might be like a booklet, not
Yeah.
like a big book,
Mhm.
but
Oh, okay.
a smaller
Mhm.
book.
I'll
But
take
isn't
it.
she writing? Isn't she writing book 10?
Yes.
Yes, she's
yeah.
very busy.
That's supposed to be real, right?
And
She is
I-
Yes, that
I-
is coming.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I've
There you go.
read on Facebook, how she gets on Facebook. It's really her.
Mhm.
And she was talking to Facebook people, and she said that she is staying home this summer, and she is really gonna try to get this book done.
Right.
Mhm.
And that
Oh,
Sooner
was
than
her
later.
comment.
Right.
okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
But that book, that she's going to end Outlander, right? That will
Right.
be her
Book 10 would be the
Well,
last one.
yeah.
Yes.
version of the
Yeah.
ending.
Yes.
Well, she's also
It's
said
not-
that, yeah, it'll be the last book, probably, unless they come up with something. I mean, she's terrible with stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
yes, it's
Lord.
the last book.
Yeah.
Probably, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably, maybe. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
They could.
Well,
I mean, they're still talking. They're always trying to churn. The media about a possible movie at some point. Like they
Yeah.
did. With a couple
Mhm.
different series. So
Right.
that would be really interesting.
It would
And
have
that's
to
if
be
the
one
actors
heck
want
of
to
a
come
movie
back and actually
series.
relive that again. Do they want to do that? I mean, that's really would have to happen. All the stars
Yeah.
would have to align. Everybody's schedule would have to be
Yeah.
together. I mean, that takes a lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
what would it be about? What,
I don't know.
They would just extend it.
I don't know. What would it be about? Because the only way that would really make sense is if they left the series open-ended enough to make that make sense.
that would
Yeah.
piss off so many people. I am
they're
sorry.
gonna make it open ended. Personally, I don't think Claire or Sam are gonna die.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope not.
I really
but if
don't. I
they-
don't think.
If they make a movie, then Claire and Jamie will be pushing each other in wheelchairs all around.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see we're gonna see Jamie dead. I think we're gonna see Jamie pass on.
No.
You do? Oh,
I
my
do.
God.
I
No.
really do.
Oh,
Either
I
in the
hope
book
not.
or on the television, one way or the other, we're gonna see Jamie pass on.
Katie,
Oh.
I bet you a dozen
I hope not.
Krispy Kreme donuts that you're wrong.
You are on.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 dozen
Anybody else?
Krispy
Jackie, you
Kreme.
went in on this?
I don't know how they're going to end it. Don't
Yeah,
know.
I'll get in on that. I love Krispy Kreme donuts. I'll get in on it.
I prefer Dunkin'. Sorry, I don't care for
See,
Krispy Kreme.
if you go to Terre Haute, I would just say the square donuts. Have
I
you
don't
ever
even
had
have a
square
Krispy
donuts
Kreme in this
Terre
town.
Haute?
Or Dunkin'.
Yeah.
Wow.
We
No
got none.
Dunkin',
I live
sorry.
in a teeny tiny little dot of a town.
Anyway,
Why do you think he's going to die, Katie?
I feel like it's not going to be Claire who dies because she's going to tell the story. And that we see his ghost, so at some point possibly he passes on and that truly is his ghost.
I don't think they're going to explain that ghost thing.
You
I
don't?
do believe
in
that
the
we're going to get
show.
an explanation
I
for
don't
the
think they're
ghost.
going to. I think
I think-
Diana's going to have to explain that in the book.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to explain that on the show.
I do
That's just
definitely
my
think it's going to be
feeling.
in the book. I don't know if it'll be on the show, but I think they're going to do something because it's the one big question everybody's had since episode 1. And
And I think they're
How
going to
much
let
of it-
Diana
I think-
answer that in the book.
I think they have
Yeah.
to answer that.
They don't. They don't have to do anything.
Well,
they don't have
do
to.
anything, but I think
we
people
demand
have
it,
to
though.
if they don't.
They're not going to have to do that. I don't think. I think they're going to let her answer it in the book. I don't think
Yeah.
they're going to do. I don't think
No,
they're
I
going to do
think
it.
they're going to answer that. I mean, we all can agree to disagree. I think they have to answer that. I
Absolutely.
know me. I want them to answer it.
I want the answer. I would love to have them answer it in the show.
I
seriously.
know.
But Katie, you're right. Maybe
You could
he
make a
does
lot of
die
money
and
if
that's
you
his
knew that
ghost,
answer.
you
I know, right?
Maybe he does die, and that's his ghost that was watching her. You know. Because he
I
does.
just think, and also, why would Claire tell the story of her life unless part of her life was over? And Jamie passing on would be part of her life being over. So I feel
Well,
like
if we look at book 9, I mean, isn't the last season supposed to be based on book 9?
and 10.
Jamie does actually die in book 9, but that's where she gets all her power, and all of that stuff happens. But that's a spoiler
Oh,
alert.
that was.
All
That is a
power.
spoiler alert.
Because that's what another answer that we want to see, right? Is
Very big
they've been
spoiler
talking
alert.
about her doing that for the whole 9
Yep.
seasons, right?
Yep,
But I
yep.
think you can't.
When is that going to happen?
You can't compare the books and the movie. They're changing everything so completely that you can't
Yeah.
compare the book and the movie.
Well, they did a pretty good of the book on season 7. Was all about the book.
Yeah, they did pretty good on that one.
Yeah, they did pretty good on 7 because that was pretty much book 8 from front to back was book 8 was
Yeah,
season 7.
there were a couple of things thrown in storyline
Was
wise,
it
but
in the book about faith? Was it in the book about faith?
no, that's a completely what
That
the
was the
heck are
only
you
part that
talking
wasn't
about,
in the book.
folks?
The rest of it was, yeah. Everything else but that.
That's going to continue. You know, that's going to continue.
Yeah.
in
It
chapter-
is. That's
in
going to be
season 8.
interesting how they figure that out.
Yes,
How they weave that through the story. I'm just anxious to see how they're going to work that out.
I know.
We're getting ahead of ourselves again here, folks.
I'm taking my dog for a walk.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah, everything
Um,
is all
Wanna see?
topsy-turvy.
Here's my dog.
That's
Well, we
hilarious.
can't. I can't see right now because my everything's gone wonky today.
I
This
can
has
see
been
a
the
doggy
worst,
there. I
technically
can see a
worst
doggy there.
stream we've had.
Oh, it's too bad.
Well, we just kept talking, so it didn't make any difference where you were.
Yeah.
I'm hopefully gonna be able to put enough of it together to make a whole different video that I'll put up tomorrow because right now it's split into at least 2. So we'll
Yep.
see what happens. I'll do my best so it's not awful. How did we
Okay.
like this episode? Was it like
It was
another
good.
fiver?
Yeah.
Fiverr.
Yeah, it was a
Great.
5 kilt for me. I love this episode. It's
Great
fantastic.
episode.
Yes.
Totally.
Many
Absolutely.
wonderful themes.
Absolutely.
Wonderful themes.
Mhm.
We can't do 5 butts. Oh, we're going to do 5 kilts.
Kilts.
Remember?
It's kilts.
Oh.
Yeah. He's in
Okay.
kilts.
We
this
haven't
whole
gotten to
season.
any bear butts yet. It's too early for butts, Jan.
Yeah, he's in kilts this
know.
whole season.
We'll see butts, though. Spoiler.
We have to wait a few more episodes.
More episodes for that, yeah.
Okay, kilts.
So we all enjoyed it. I think we got a lot of good info again about the characters, but we got some lighthearted moments as well.
Yes.
Some hopeful moments. So
Absolutely.
it was a nice mixture of stuff.
Mhm. Was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did too. I thought it was a really great, all around episode with great scenes. You know, I think they did a great job of
Mhm.
combining the book and the series for this
Yeah.
episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
All right. Well, then
the whole
I am going to
theme-
leave it at that while we still have a signal to talk to each other.
Okay.
Hey.
We thank you, ladies, again, especially since this was just a struggle to get through on my end. I have no idea what it's going to look like. To everybody who commented, I'm sorry I didn't go through your comments. I lost half of them when I restarted the stream, and I'm too worried about talking about it and not getting through things. So, but thank you for commenting. I'm going to do my best to make this all one video tomorrow. I'm going to go to bed tonight. This is ridiculous.
Okay.
Uh,
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, you
Love you all.
guys.
Hi,
Good
guys.
seeing everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So I thank everybody for joining me. I do apologize for the technical difficulties. I can only control so much. There was something going on with my network, and I have your standard at home. I'm a people who watches TV on my network and some computer work. I don't have some crazy amazing network, just the regular old internet connection. So thanks for your patience. Look for a video tomorrow that is spliced together, hopefully with whatever came through on YouTube. I'll try to make it watchable, and it just my heart goes out to you if you stuck with it this long. Please do check out anything in my playlist if you would like to get some more Outlander information. Thanks to my subscribers, thanks to my members, thanks for everybody for your patience for getting this far, and I hope you have a great rest of your St. Patty's Day. Go have a green beer for me, and I will see you guys tomorrow where hopefully my live works.